Budgeting. It's everybody's favorite topic, and everybody's always looking for small little tips that can help them stay on track. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. Today, I'm sharing one of my absolute favorite tips for staying on budget, but even before we head off cruising. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Rainman Watermakers and Seatask. Rainman Watermakers are capable of producing up to 37 gallons of fresh, clean drinking water per hour from seawater. Portable and installed models are available, all with off-the-shelf parts. Configurations are available in AC, 12-volt DC, and even a gasoline system, with new 2019 models being smaller, lighter, and quieter than ever. Seatask is the premier U.S. facility for Rainman Watermakers. Visit them at www.seataskgroup.com to learn more. That's SEATASKGROUP.com. Budgeting. Yay, budgeting. Yay, money. Everything about it is just everybody's favorite thing. Well, not exactly. I've got a really quick little trick. Every time I go to the grocery store, I spend a stupid amount of money. This podcast idea came up when I had been to the grocery store 4 times in the last 10 days. Every time I went into the grocery store, I spent an average of $106. I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem to matter if my list is long or if it's short. If I have decided that I'm going to pick up 4 things or 40 things, I walk into the grocery store and I spend a ton of money. It used to be that I officially went to the grocery store once every week. I would take my really, really carefully thought out list with my really organized, figured out menu plan, and I went grocery shopping every single week. Once upon a time, it used to be that I kind of wagged my budget. You know, that thumb in the air, twisting my hand back and forth, trying to search for something that might or might not kind of pinpoint it. And I said that I thought I spent about $800 a month because every time I went to the grocery store on those official once a week visits, I was spending right around $200. This was when there were 4 people living in the house. We're down to 3. And then I started tracking what I was spending. And I was a little shocked and a little horrified at what I was spending. I use You Need a Budget. It's not a free tool. It's actually probably maybe expensive, but I really love it for the idea that what I do is I take my money and I give my money a job. So each dollar has a job. My problem with budgeting is that I would sort of say, oh, what did I spend? And then put it in these categories and sort of figure it out. But YNAB makes me budget by planning ahead as opposed to being reactive. And then every time I spend money, I put it against the categories that I already said I wanted to spend it on. I also love that it tracks it over time, and so I can get a better idea in terms of averages. I started tracking, and I realized I was spending close to $1,500 a month at the grocery store. Yes, this includes all the things like toothpaste and laundry detergent and wine and beer and shampoo, those kinds of things. But I was so shocked to find out that I was so far off in what I thought I was spending. Really, it wasn't the kinds of stuff that I was buying, but actually I was going to the grocery store way more often than once every week. I was going 2 or 3 times a week. I was stopping after work. I was saying, oh, I need this one thing. Let me just pop in there. And I would spend that average of $106 each and every single time. No, I didn't bring a list with me. I didn't have that carefully considered, here's my list, here's what I'm going to eat. And so it's kind of like you have a bite of cookie or you break it in half and the calories don't count. If I don't have a list with me on those unofficial trips, then I don't have any problem with staying on budget, right? Not so fast. So now, these days, now that I'm tracking, now that I'm being very diligent about looking what I have and what I need, my MO these days is to save up all my groceries for one trip, and I try to go once every 10 days to 2 weeks, not once a week. I'm really astounded at how long fresh vegetables and fruits last. And yes, I have a big refrigerator and I'm throwing them all in there, but I have no problem with my fruits and vegetables lasting between those trips. I do have to think about where I'm getting the stuff that I'm going grocery shopping for, because I have some things that I prefer to buy at one store and some things that I prefer to buy at another store. And if I'm not going to that store that week and I'm out of them, I am out of luck until the next time I need to go shopping. So I'm pretty careful about looking to say, okay, if I need to buy this stuff here, what else can I get there? And it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work out at all, which is actually what spurred this whole podcast. The past 10 days going 4 times to the grocery store. Whoa. One of those trips was to the coffee shop that I go to. And no, I don't go and buy individual cups of coffee, but I do buy fresh roasted beans that I grind at home every morning. So that's one of my indulgences. And I go and I tend to buy 6 weeks worth at a time. So that counts as a grocery purchase in my mind. One of those trips to the grocery store was literally, I bought 2 things. Now, granted, the 2 things didn't add up to $106, but I went another time to the store and I bought 2 things that we needed. We had I think I got rotisserie chicken and maybe a head of lettuce. That was kind of oh boy, I'm exhausted, but we need to eat when we come back from the boat. One of those 4 trips was my bi-weekly stock up. And the other one was a top-off trip that I wanted to get some special ingredients that I hadn't considered because I wanted to put together a last-minute celebration dinner after our younger child got an acceptance letter for college from a school that really was kind of at the top of their list, thinking about things. So these don't seem bad. I mean, when I'm talking about going to the grocery store 4 times in 10 days, when I break it down into what I went to the store for, it's not crazy, except that when I added it all up and divided it by 4, the average was $106. I shoot for $800 a month for my grocery budget. And that 1 week dropped me down to $405 left in my grocery budget. Wow. But here's my favorite thing. The best way I make sure to stick to that is not to go to the grocery store. If I don't go to the grocery store, I can't spend the money. And so absolutely, it is my favorite way to stay on budget is to stay out of the stores. Why does this count? Why is this cruising prep? Why does this have anything to do with being on a podcast? Well, a few things. One is it's being very mindful of money, which as we're out there and things aren't coming in and we're trying to stay out there longer, being mindful of money is a great way to make sure you can do that. It's also a trick in seeing how long I can go between grocery stores, right? If I can stay out of the grocery store and not run in to get that one thing that I think I need, but I make do with what I have, that's pretty good. It's also being aware of what I'm running out of and keeping track of that. It's knowing that if I have a bag of rice left, but if we're about to go across the Pacific, I might want to make sure that we have more rice on board. So being aware of what I'm running out of and planning accordingly, that's a pretty big one. And as some wonderful reader pointed out on my blog, that it makes me use up what I've got. It means I'm looking and I'm being creative and I'm using substitutes. Instead of just saying, oh, yep, I'm just going to stop and grab some cilantro because I can, why not just do with what I've got? So there you go. That's my favorite way to stay on budget, is to stay out of the store. I hope you have the most fantastic day. Thanks so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We aim to answer all your cruising questions, so please ask away. If you found some value in this, please share it with your friends. And remember, we have 2 episodes that come out every single week. We'll talk to you next time. And when you see us in an anchorage, come knock on the hull and say hello.